Okay, so here we are. It is May 14, I think it is, of 2023. And I am doing a tutorial on making this twin bed zip up sheet, like a sleeping bag kind of thing that fits on the twin bed. I made one of these last year in June for Adeline, and I bought all the stuff to make Lilia's with, and I didn't get it done. It had been a lot of work, and they didn't seem like they were that interested. But now here it is a year later, and it almost is time for Lilia's birthday, and it sounds as if they are kind of fighting over the one that I had made. So we are making the other one, and I'm going to document it better this time because last time I didn't do such a good job. Okay, so here we've pulled out the mattress so I can get around it pretty easily, and I have put on the bottom sheet. Okay, now I have put the duvet cover on upside down. Okay, and I have got it all stretched on here tight, and I am going to make sure that I have the middle in the middle across here. Okay, now it just so happens that we will be making a mark down this side and down this side all the way to the top of the bed, way up there, and we'll be making a straight line and putting a zipper in both sides there. The distance between here across to here is right at 36 to 37 inches, and I will be doing lots of basting before I actually sew things in. And what I have determined is that the cutting table in my garage room is 37 inches wide. So we will be taking this and putting it on the cutting table outside and then bringing it back and forth to use on our sewing machine. Okay, so that's step one. Okay, so here we are. We've transferred to the cutting table in my room. And as I said before, this is 37 inches wide. So what I've done is I have put the head of the bed down there, and this is the foot. And I have positioned this exactly in the middle of this table. So this hang down is 15 inches, and that hang down on that side is 15 inches. And I had marked on the bed about where the bottom seam was going to go, and I measured that, and actually this is 15 inches on this particular duvet. And I will make a mark straight across here that will be my bottom seam and my ending seam for the zipper, which is going to go here. So I will be making a mark all the way down this line right here, and the same place on that side right there all the way to the top of the bed. I'll be making a mark, okay? And when I go in to sew, I will not be cutting this right now. This will just be a mark. And when I go in to sew, I will sew a straight stitch on this side and a straight stitch on this side of that mark, okay? And then I will start serging from the top of the comforter all the way down that mark in the middle of the sewing line. I'll serge it all the way down to the base of the bed. Maybe just quit a little before for sure, okay? And then I'll do the same thing, and I'll do it on, then I'll serge back up the other side so that both of these raw edges will be serged. This will not be raw edges. I didn't do that on Adeline's, and I regretted it, and I couldn't go back and fix it. So the same thing will happen on that side, and we'll take some pictures of that in a minute. I found that it is much easier to make my line if I lay the straight edge down just on the edge, and then I can come along and mark it like this. Okay, and then I'm going to move my straight edge up so it goes all the way to the end. There's my blue mark, and I'll continue to mark that the rest of the way up, making sure that it's right on the edge. And there we go. Okay, like I said before, I'll take this inside and I'll make a straight stitch with the regular sewing machine. I'm going to pin this so that it doesn't slip apart, okay? I'm going to pin it, and then I'm going to sew one straight seam this side and one straight seam down that side. And I think I don't have any straight pins in here, so I think you get the drift. This has to be pinned before I sew it. Okay. Okay, so I have pinned it through. Since I'm using a duvet, there's 2 pieces of fabric here, and I don't want them to separate. If you were using a lightweight quilt, you may not have to do this particular step, although you would need to mark this line. But I'm going to sew down this side and this side, and I put a line across the bottom, and I am going to sew across this line, or at least baste it, because this is the bottom and it'll be sewed to the sheet later and so on, but I don't want the 2 pieces of the duvet to separate from here on out. So this will create one solid unit then. Okay, let's go sew. I don't like sewing over pins, as it often does. So stay real close to your line and go along. Actually, a basting stitch will be sufficient for this, because you're going to be overlocking it as well. This is just to hold the bottom and top sheet together. Okay, so now I have sewn on either side of the blue line a straight stitch, got it in the serger, and I'm going to go straight down the blue line, which will serge this side of the fabric. Then I'll turn at the bottom and come back up on the other side. Okay, so here I am at the bottom where the line goes across, and I'm see if I can hold the camera and do this at the same time. I'm just going to kind of pull the fabric around and twist. See how this stays together here, because just a second here, let me change hands. It stays together here because I had basted it. It doesn't come apart. Okay, so I'm just kind of pinning, and it'll be loose at the bottom, but that's okay. Okay, so now we have done the stitching down our line and serged down and back up the other side. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this long strip here that we cut off, and we're going to pin it right sides together. So let me do that, then I'll show you. Okay, so we have both sides pinned together, right sides together, and now we're going to take it back to the sewing machine, and we're going to make a 5-inch basting stitch. As you know, we'll be ripping this out later after we put the zipper in, so you want to make sure it's not too tight. You're going to do a 5-inch basting stitch all the way from the bottom clear up to the top on both sides. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do, I've got my 2 side seams sewn here, and you are going to want to iron both of them flat. Okay, so just give it a good pressing, make it crisp. This is not as easy if you chose a quilt, but being that this was a duvet, it just makes nice crisp seams. So here we are, we have our duvet laid back out on the long cutting table, and we have a nylon long upholstery zipper that we ordered off of Amazon. I'm not sure about how long this is, but you can see it goes clear to the bottom. And you could pin this and do this, but I just have found from experience that if you take a little extra time and baste this by hand, you are going to be glad you did later, and it's going to make a much nicer looking seam on the outside. So you're going to open the zipper as you go. You're going to start at the top, and you're going to place the teeth of the zipper right along the seam line, maybe just a hair on the far side, so that when you come back later and you do this side, that it'll be in the middle. Okay, and then I like to use a relatively long needle so I can get lots of stitches in, and I like to use a quilting thread so it's a little bit stronger. You'll be taking this out later, and it'll be easier to take out if you use a thread that is a different color. All right, let's baste. So I have opened the zipper, placed it face down and basted it all the way down to the bottom. And here is where my seam stops, and my zipper goes a little bit further. So all you're going to do is you're going to pull the zipper up a little bit. Second here. I poked myself with a needle and my finger's bleeding. Just a minute. Hang on. Let's see if I can. Okay. So now you're going to pull that up, and when you get to the bottom here, you'll just sew across here and reinforce it a couple times, and the zipper won't come down then any further than where you sewed across. And I will leave this open to sew down this side with my zipper foot, but I probably won't baste the other side. I will just simply close the zipper, and it usually will hold it well enough now to come over on the other side and go back up. Okay, let's go do it. Okay, so I've already done the zipper on the other side, and I did it in the manner where the zipper meets in the middle of the seam. And I really wasn't very happy with the way that it turned out, as one side is, way closer than the other. So this zipper on this side, I've decided to put it in a different way. I've decided to do the lap version, and so I have already, the seam was sewn and I have already sewn this side. It's just like putting in a dress with a side lap zipper. I think the thing that's important here is you have to make sure that the lap is going to be pointing down and not up. Okay, so this side is already sewn, and I am going to hand baste all the way down here and then sew it on the machine. And let's see if I like this application better than the other way. Okie dokie. Okay, so we have both of the zippers completely in, and I wanted to this is now the top here, and I did the second zipper with the lap technique, making sure that the top fold goes over the bottom. And so there's I have a little thread here still attaching that, but we'll cut that. So that's what this one looks like, and it goes all the way to the bottom, and we do have a little tuck right here, which we will take care of when we miter the corners, which I think we'll do next. And this side, I use the meet in the middle technique, even hand basting it and I just do not think it looks as good, and quite frankly, I don't think it was quite as easy. So, in the future, we will use the lap technique. So now we have the sleeping bag back on the bed, and we've pulled out the corners here, and we've made a mark. We've pinned it up next to the mattress, and we're going to sew right along this line all the way to the bottom, and we're going to serge that, and we're going to do the same thing over here, making it like a mitered corner. And so we will do that and go from there. Okay, so I have laid the top sheet down on top of the bed. I've made sure that I've got the top of the top sheet the way I'd want to fold it back if I were making it. So it's the inside of the top sheet is to the inside of the mattress, okay? And I put big pleats here just randomly so that we can have the full width of the top sheet when it's all sewn together. Then I have taken my top duvets and I've mitered the corners, and I'm going to pull that down over the top sheet, and I've got it all lined up on the sides so it's about even on both sides. And now what I'm going to do, my end goal is to sew all through the bottom sheet, the top sheet, and the duvets all across the bottom here on this stitching line. And then I'm going to want to sew all the way down here through all the, well, not the top sheet, but the bottom sheet and the duvet all the way down and around and underneath the zipper. And then we'll come back again and we'll sew through the bottom sheet and the duvets all the way here so that this is snug here. And we're going to tackle this part first. And the tutorial that I watched said to hand baste all this. I don't know. I think I may pin it and then go sew it. So we'll see. Now on my other comforter that I made, on the inside I had put a slit on the bottom part of the duvet right across here, and I had put bias tape around that slit and made that an opening that I had put a silk comforter inside. But they have not even used that, and it was quite a lot of extra work. And in talking to my daughter and granddaughter, they just want it plain, and that is a lot less work for me. So we're not even going to go into that here. So it'll just be the bedding zipped up with the top sheet inside, and then this duvet on top, which is like 2 sheets. And for them, they think this is enough. All right. So I'll see you in a few minutes here after, well, it'll be more than a few minutes after I've done some sewing. This is going to be the tough part. Okay, so we're just about done. So let's go through what we did here. So I did hand baste all of this, and after I hand basted it, I went on my sewing machine, and from the top down to here, across the bottom, and back up this side right underneath the zipper all the way, I sewed it on the sewing machine. And so this now is attached to the sheet, the fitted sheet on the bottom. Okay, now we had our this sheet in here, sandwiched in. And so I had, okay, so then I hand basted down here. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I've actually sewn this clear down to this corner, all the way down to the fitted sheet. But here at the bottom, I wanted to just take it off, and I did. And this sheet was hanging way down long here. And so I just overlocked this sheet. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue to, I'll hand baste all of this and then sew it, and then we're done. Okay, so what I did was I just pulled out the fitted sheet and pulled this down, came along here with a long basting stitch, and held it together, and then I'll go across the bottom doing the same thing. Okay. Okay, I think we're done. Of course, I don't really have the bunk beds for this to fit on, but here is the final job. I had sewn, I didn't actually cut this at all right here. I just tucked it up and sewed it onto the bottom fitted sheet. It was a very full fitted sheet, so it fit right in. But I did put an extra seam about 3 to 4 inches up right here because this was such a big baggy piece of fabric. And then here we are. Let's see if I can get it to open. And the other side opens too. And there is our top sheet. So there you have it here at the end. Did the same. I tucked it under right here and sewed it, and then put a seam right here. I actually did not sew this top seam right around this corner right here, and the other one too. It just didn't seem like the corner might fit as well, so I left this right here. I just started the sewing here across and about here and up. All right. So, without putting any batting in it, it's done. I wish that I had the video, or made a video of the other one where I had actually down here sewn a placket and then made an insert to put like a lightweight comforter in the middle here. But this is a lot easier. It's still quite a few layers of blankets, and if they wanted to put a blanket on top, it could go here, and then they could just zip it right in when they're done. All right, so hopefully when I make my video, I will put a link to where I got this beautiful bedding. It's all organic, and I can't remember the name of the place right now. And these sheets from Amazon are also organic, and they fit so beautifully. Just love, love, love them. Okie dokie. There you have it. All right, here we are. We have come to the bed in which the sleeping sheet zipper thing is going to fit on. All right, so I have my two granddaughters here showing it off. And they've zipped down each side.
It's so comfy.
Okay, and so then here is here, turn around and pull this up over you guys. No, pull this up like you were sleeping under it.
We're sleeping.
Okay, so they've got their top sheet. And now zip it up like a sleeping bag. Maybe they didn't have to zip it that far. And Adeline's over there in the corner. Okay. There they are.
I want one of my buddies.
Oh, we're not going to do buddies right now. We're just showing off the sheets, okay? So, okay, Lilia, I want you to slowly unzip that again so we can see that. All right. And so there we have it. Underneath is the sandwiched in sheet. And then we have the zipper here.
And you only have to zip one side off, not both sides.
Well, we can, but it has a zipper on both sides. And then I didn't show, so what we did to get this on the bed so easily, I had my husband come in and we literally just took the whole entire mattress off of the bed, made it on the floor, just put the sheet on the floor, and then lifted the mattress back up, and it was super easy. Now, in some of my previous videos, I mentioned how I had done snaps on the other one. So here is the other one that I had made about a year ago. It's looking a little worn by now. But these are the snaps. And here, Lilia, can you unzip this side over here?
Yes.
All the way down. Okay. And then pull this back a little bit right here. More. Ouch. Sorry about that. Where's the, is it clear down here? Here is the placket that I had made. Here, oh, you're on it.
Sorry.
There we go. This is the placket that I had made that if she wanted, she has a thin silk comforter that would fit in here and snap to these snaps. And the snaps do not go all the way through. They only go inside the front cover and snap to the silk comforter inside. All right. Okay, one of the things I learned that I didn't do on this one that I did on the one new one I made. Here, let's unzip this again a minute. Can you hold that for me and unzip it? Okay, so right here, I did not overlock this before I put the zipper in. And that was a huge mistake. And as you can see, it's raveling out all over the place. But it does the trick. And it seems like it's working well.
And it's like really easy to make your bed. You just zip it up and you're good to go.
Zip it up and you're good to go.
You don't have, normally don't unzip this side because like.
Yeah, neither one of them
easier.
usually unzip the far side, but it depends too on which end they want to put their head at. So they can change which end they want to put their head at, and the zipper would be on the outside. All right, there it is.